Not Nerd Podcast, episode 373, Money, What's It Even Good For?
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
I am always here, except for the couple times that I wasn't. But hey, that's what we got to do. We got to be here. We got to read the news, and we got to convert people to technology aficionados.
Yes. Aficionados.
Yes.
Using tech better. Well,
say that 3 times fast.
Exactly. Let us get into some follow-up. The thing that always helps us tech better is talking about SBF and FTX. And
I disagree, but go on.
Yes. So the DOJ is alleging that he was trying to influence a witness through the private messaging app Signal. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get him barred from using. If you'll remember, he was mysteriously bailed out, and there's still mystery around that. But he also is at his parents' house or something. But apparently he's trying to influence other things. I did want to mention Sam Bankman-Fried is his name, but if you are a Fox News fan, you might have seen they have a documentary called Scam, Bankrupt, Fraud.
Ooh.
Explaining what is going on with this.
How clever.
Yes. So prosecutors claim that Bankman-Fried's overtures to FTX U.S. General Counsel Ryan Miller constituted a possible attempt at witness tampering.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, but that's enough. I'm trying to get away from the SBF FTX, but it just keeps unraveling.
Whenever an article or something comes up, I just pass right on by.
Yeah.
I really don't care anymore, but it's always interesting.
Yes, that just the complexity of this whole thing. And our other constant, Twitter. There's a guy, Dave Rubin, who does, like daily news videos and stuff, but he had a Twitter thread, and he spent the last 2 days at Twitter in San Francisco talking to engineers, project managers, and yes, Elon Musk. Learned a ton about what's going on. Before I share, want to note that after a couple-hour meeting, I asked Elon what I could share, and he said, anything that's true. So then the second tweet in the thread starts with the quote, a fractal Rube Goldberg machine is how Elon Musk explained the code at Twitter.
Yikes.
Yes, but it was a pretty interesting little read, just basically that they're still trying to unravel all the complexity of how like some of the shadow banning works and deprioritizing tweets and all that stuff. And
you know what would be hilarious? If Elon decided to take Mastodon and create an instance, a Twitter.com instance, yes, and moved all of the people that are currently on Twitter over to his Mastodon instance and just use that.
Yes.
And speaking of Mastodon, I did a little research to find out. So for example, I'm in mastodon.social, and I also signed up for the twit.social for the This Week in Tech network. Yeah. And I noticed that George Takei, I had followed him. He's the former Sulu in Star Trek, of course.
Oh my,
the oh my guy. So he's very vocal on social media. So he's a good kind of bellwether to test out these things. He was when I switch over to my Twit instance, he's there because I followed him apparently there, and when on Mastodon as well. But he is at like Decay at universedon.com, and I'm like, how is he in both? And so I'm still wrapping my head around this, and so I did some research. He's not. You only need to be a member of one instance, and you can follow people from other instances, and they show up in your instances.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because, I thought you had to be in 1,000 different instances to be able to find everybody.
I did too. And so now I have 2, and maybe I tried to sign up for a third one. I'm not sure. So I think what I'm going to do is just get rid of all of them except for the mastodon.social because that's one of the largest ones. And I'll just go with that. I don't know. So I learned that little tidbit. You just need one, and you can follow people from any of them. Now, how you find them is quite another matter.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I'm just ready to get back and try the mass. I didn't give it too much of an effort the first time many years ago, but
well, for me, it's basically just like Twitter because I purchased that Ivory app. So I was using Tweetbot, and then Ivory is basically a clone for Mastodon, and it works fine. And it's just like I'm on Twitter, just with with only 20 people that I follow instead of 1,000.
Yes,
whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, next story.
Well, where you should have gone to fix it was ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah?
And I found it's a GitHub repository, but it's awesome ChatGPT prompts. So I figured some of our listeners might be curious about it, but it's got just a bunch of information about different ways to prompt things. So like, you would ask ChatGPT, I want you to act as a stand-up comedian. I will provide you with some topics related to current events, and you will use your wit, creativity, and observational skills to create a routine based on those topics. You should also be sure to incorporate personal anecdotes or experiences into the routine in order to make it more relatable and engaging for the audience. My first request is, I want an humorous take on politics. So, but it goes on and all these different, what you would want it to act as: a composer, debater, screenwriter.
Well, this is kind of cool because I've always kind of wanted to do some stand-up comedy, and I have a few jokes that I've written down over the years, but I don't know how to create a show out of this or whatever.
Yeah.
So this could maybe give me a start for a flow, and then I could put my own topics into it or something.
Yeah. So it's very fascinating, and again, I just recommend everybody go and sign up and just try it out, just so you kind of have some understanding of what's going on there.
Very, very nice.
And this one, 7 banks team up to create digital wallet challenging PayPal and Apple Pay.
Come on, why?
And
why do we need more of these things?
And it's some of our favorites. JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and the 4 other banks behind the money transfer network Zelle are developing a digital wallet. And we've talked about Zelle several times. And again, these big, huge banks that we've talked about many times that we are not huge fans of. But
so basically, the pillars of the money mafia that are out there breaking the law, organized crime. That's what I was looking for. The pillars of organized banking crime are the people who are setting this up.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. So we'll see if that comes. But I mean, very few people use Zelle, so hopefully very few people will use this. But again, if you take those 7 banks, the percentage of U.S. bank users is pretty high. So depending on how hard they push it, you might be seeing that elsewhere.
Yeah, I've been happy with Apple Pay, but of course, the bank that they bank with has lost a lot of money. So I don't know how they're going to do that moving forward.
Yes, with Goldman Sachs, it was reported that the Apple Card wasn't making them a lot of money, but we'll see. Money, who needs it anyways?
Yeah. What's it even good for? Absolutely buying all my groceries.
Yes. Speaking of groceries, I didn't link to this article, but Amazon has their grocery service. I forget what it's even called. They're going to start charging more for that, but the article I do have, Amazon launches RxPass, a $5 a month Prime add-on for all you need generic drugs covering 80 conditions.
All you can eat drugs right here, baby. Amazon is my current pharmacist.
That's very nice.
And I was surprised the other day when a bunch of my medication just showed up because it's like on a schedule or something like that. I hope my doctors are okay with that because I haven't been there a long time.
Yeah.
So they may be like, why are you sitting in this? He needs to come and get a checkup.
Usually if they're anything like my pharmacy, they will call you or say when you go to renew, it'll say, you can't renew this. You've got to talk to your doctor. And I'm like, I don't want
it's all on automatic. I don't have to talk to Amazon.
Yeah.
And I don't have to talk to my doctor. I just get that good stuff through the mail.
Yes. And so apparently you pay $5 a month, and then they're starting with 80 generic drugs that you would be able to get your prescriptions through that. So maybe some of this stuff that you get could be underneath that. But I know we've talked about this before with pharmacy stories, but it seems like that is such, like even just what you're doing with Amazon and all the by mail stuff. Because I go to the Fred Meyer Pharmacy, Kroger brand, here locally, and it's like sometimes you wait half an hour in line to get it just seems so outdated to have to go to a grocery store or some special place and wait in line to get your prescriptions, especially for the people that really need prescriptions. Like when I had my wrist surgery and I'm like, 2 hours out of surgery and having to stand in line at Fred Meyer's and then walk around for 15 minutes because it wasn't ready yet while my wrist does not feel good. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Now this will work great because mine is more than $5 a month. It's not very much. But if it could fit into that, and it's no matter what I get, it's just $5, that's great.
Yes. And I'm looking for, I saw in here somewhere there was some quote that was like, anybody that spends $10 or more on prescriptions per month could save 50% or more. And it's like, yes, I understand that $10 is double $5.
That's amazing.
And if I spend $20,
they use ChatGPT to write that article.
Yeah. Thank you, TechCrunch, for doing the math. I do understand and am sympathetic and empathetic to all of those that aren't as good at math as I am, but it was a little bit silly.
I think maybe you were talking about me.
Well, maybe I was talking about you, but I am definitely talking about you for Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Nate, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you use text messaging.
I have used text messaging today, in fact.
Today. Well, that's wonderful because this tip will apply to you and many of our other listeners who are on the iOS platform and who do text messaging. Similar things apply to those in the Android world. I am making an assumption.
Yes.
So the story starts out like this. My good friend Tyler, friend of the show, friend of me, maybe friend of you, I don't know. So anyway, Tyler, he has been texting me over the past few days, and I'm like, whatever. I pick up my phone, and I'm like, what? There's like 3 new messages from Tyler. Why didn't my earphones ding, or why didn't my phone buzz, or why didn't my watch blink, or why didn't my other phone flash, or why didn't my computer pop up, or why didn't my other computer pop up? And then the third and fourth computers didn't do anything either. And nor did my second iPad and the old iPad that I have back here. So regardless, none of those devices were alerting me, and I was becoming a little frustrated and concerned. You know what it was? It was as simple as at some point, either I did this on purpose, or I did it by mistake, or it just did it automatically. His text messages, let me say that without sounding drunk. His text messages were muted. So they were coming in, but they weren't alerting me. And so if you find on your phone, when you open it up and are surprised that there are messages there, you may have the person muted. And I'm going to tell you how to unmute that person. Or conversely, if you don't want to hear them, you can mute them. It works both the same way. So Tyler is one of my top 9 here. He's in my little bubble, so he's easy to find. If I tap on his beautiful face, it'll bring up the chat thread that we're going through. At the top of my screen is his icon and his name with a little arrow, and I'm going to tap that, and it's going to bring me to kind of an information screen about Tyler. So on my screen, there's a little toggle, hide alerts, toggle on or off. And in this particular case, his hide alerts was switched on. So whenever there was an alert coming from him, it didn't show.
Gotcha.
So if you are suffering from the same affliction of not getting alerts from just one single person, like it works for everybody else, but this one person is not working, that's your problem. Now you may be saying, I've seen a mute feature elsewhere, and you probably have. If someone's not in your top 9 little bubbles, you don't have to have 9, but if they're not in the top 10 section, you can just swipe to the right and there will be a mute and a delete option for that particular message. You can also mute people from right there on that screen. However, if you have them up in the top in the little bubble, you're going to have to click through to their information screen to see that. A pro tip, if you press and hold on one of those circles, it'll bring up a menu that also has a hide alert or unhide alert little quick drop down option. So there are multiple ways to hide and unhide alerts, and that's probably how mine got switched that way, because there are multiple ways.
Yeah.
I probably didn't even notice it. So anyway, that's hiding and unhiding alerts.
Yes, that is nice. And I'm looking through my messages list, and I'm seeing a couple, like T-Mobile has been working on my most used tower, and so they text messaged me about that, and then they texted me again today to say that service on the tower you use most has been completed. But some of those ones where you want to get them, but it's not vital that you see it right away, you could just mute them so you're not getting as many notifications of things that aren't important. Like Amazon, I get a text every time my Amazon's delivered. It's like, I don't usually need to know that. I can see it at some point.
Yeah,
but
so just
one
hide
less
those alerts.
Buzz,
yeah, perfect.
one less distraction. I like it. Okay, well, let us move on to our takes of the week. And this first one, I've heard a lot of, oh no, but I don't know about that. But I guess I should tell you what I'm talking about before I go on any further. Do. Yes, I've teased you long enough. Smartphone shipments suffered the largest ever decline, with 18.3% drop in the holiday quarter and an 11.3% decline in 2022, according to IDC tracker.
So what does this mean? That nobody's buying smartphones anymore?
I've heard some different things, and people are, they're in trouble. But if you might remember over the last 3 years, there was a lot of people at home, and some people had some extra money and more time, so they upgraded devices. Like, I think it's the same with laptops. A lot of people had to buy laptops. So then maybe they slowed down. Another thing is, these iPhones, they just released an update to the iPhone 5S.
Really?
It wasn't a full OS update, but it was some sort of minor security update thing.
I'll have to turn on that's going to take me a month to get all those updated.
Yes, but the phones have gotten so much better, so I think, it's not catastrophic for the phone companies. Their sales are just down a little bit. And so fourth quarter, let's take Apple, for instance. Mm-hmm. Most of us have heard of Apple and their iPhone product.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yes. So in the fourth quarter of 2022, they shipped 72.3 million, with an M, iPhones. The year prior, fourth quarter in 2021, they shipped 85 million, with an M, phones.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so, but they still ship 72 million phones. It's not like people are stopping to buy iPhones. It's just, and also, I don't know if they mentioned it in here, just some of the supply chain slowdowns. There was backups for, of course, people talked about Apple and not being able to get all of their phones out.
Yeah, they famously started advertising the basic iPhone 14 model instead of the Pro models, which they can charge more money for, because they didn't have supply.
Yes.
And so they could have sold more had they supply of the Pro phones, but they just didn't have them.
Yes. Well, and they also mentioned in the article that they do mention the supply chain, but there's also things like inflation and economy that people might be considering.
It's not like the price of the phones
phone
went down.
Yes.
So people are rushing out to buy them. No, they're as expensive or even more expensive than they were the previous year.
And so is everything else. But just interesting, the largest decline ever with smartphones. But I actually posted on the Not Nerd page on Facebook. I've been finding all these timeline graph things over the years, and it was there was one on like internet connectivity and just watching, from like the early 90s. I think that one started, and then there's one on smartphone sales, and just, there's a lot of smartphones out there, and not everybody is me that needs a new one every year.
Yeah. I'm still rocking my 13 Pro from 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, I guess. And this fall will mark its 2-year period, and then I'll just have to decide, do I want to continue using it, or do I want to see what the new hotness is?
Yes. And I even, using some older phones, as much as it pains me to say it, they still work very well for most people. And, like especially the 13 to 14, the camera's a little bit better. There's some more features, but...
my 7, I was showing my
your
iPhone 7
iPhone
here.
7.
It will record 4K video, and it does a fine job of it. It doesn't have how you say HDR or some of that other stuff.
Yeah.
But it does like slow motion, and it practically does everything you need.
Yes. So we're probably going to be okay, and I think Apple, Samsung, and the others will probably be okay as well.
I think they'll do okay.
Yes. Our next story, just an interesting one. We've talked before, but for the 2023 Oscar nominations have been announced, and the headline from Deadline is streamers beat a retreat, netting half of last year's nomination tally.
So many great rhyming things that you just said. So I'm assuming that there are a lot of movies and stuff that are on streaming only, or mainly on streaming, that are headlining. I'm actually trying to watch all of the movies that have been nominated for Best Picture, and I've seen most of them.
Wow.
And I'm going to be watching the Oscars. I thought it was earlier this year, but it's in March.
Yes, there's also the different award shows. It's hard to keep track. But it says that Netflix, Apple, and Amazon accounted for 19 total nominations in the official field, down from 37 last year.
Wow.
So, but of course, 2022 was the year that Apple's Coda broke through and won Best Picture. And so I don't know if again, much like the last story, I don't know if this really tells us anything. It's just the streaming isn't completely taking over, but they're still producing good movies. So
yep, there's a couple out there: Avatar 2, Top Gun Maverick, etc.
Yes, and just one of the 10 Best Picture nominations went to a streaming feature, Netflix's All Quiet on the Western Front.
I have yet to see that. I would really like to see that.
Yes, I have heard multiple sources say that it is good. So,
and I believe Netflix is one of the 12 streaming services that I have. So
yes, 12 or 13, whatever it is. This next one, the State Department is in turmoil over a font change. And the sub-headline on Mashable is "Font Fight" with an exclamation point. The article is great. The looming possibility of the country defaulting on its debt could have far-reaching and dire consequences, but a second crisis has shaken the core of the State Department, a mandated font switch from Times New Roman to Calibri.
Now, if memory serves, Calibri is a Microsoft font. Don't they own that font?
That does sound familiar. I would.
It's the default font for Microsoft products. But I did not read this article. But it's interesting to me that they wouldn't choose something that is more open source or not tied to a company. But maybe.
Well, it is the government we're talking about.
That's true. But perhaps, and we should have prepared better for this article, I suppose. But go out and read it on your own. But perhaps Microsoft license it from somebody else. I don't know.
Yes. So the reasoning behind it is that it would be more readable for those with low vision. So a lot of the built-in readers and that kind of thing have apparently difficulties with Times New Roman, which you would think they could figure out since Times New Roman is kind of popular.
Well, instead of Calibri, they just should be using Helvetica, which is kind of the gold standard. I don't know why. That is owned by a company. I cannot remember the name. But just use Helvetica. Calibri's a cheap knockoff. It's a dollar store version of Helvetica.
Yes. So, in fact, it says Times New Roman was the sacrilege font back in 2004 when the State Department phased out the use of Courier New 12, the typewriter font.
Yes, that's
so they got pushback on
font.
that. Yes. I don't see any mention in here of the owner of Calibri or the licensing or the amount of our tax money that will go to making this change.
Well, we would hate to have details in an article.
Yes. Come on, Mashable. Tell me the good stuff. Security and privacy. So you'll remember we've mentioned a couple times as new information becomes available about our friends at LastPass and their breach. Well, GoTo is the company name, formerly LogMeIn, is warning customers that threat actors who breached its development environment in November stole encrypted backups containing customer information and an encryption key for a portion of that data.
Of course they did.
So that is not good if you're trusting your backup. So GoTo has many different services.
GoToMeeting.
Yeah, GoToMeeting, GoToAssist. LastPass is under them. But this breach, it's one of those ones where they just kind of keep trickling out a little more information. Now, we should give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't realize that, but I have a hard time believing that when you have a breach and you don't fully investigate in November when it's now nearly February.
Yeah, I need to do I should practice what I preach. And I need to go through and do the hard work now that I have all my stuff in Bitwarden to go through and change and update all of my passwords that I use regularly, which is, probably 20 or 30 that I use regularly.
Yeah.
With another 100 or so that, I signed up for some service a long time ago. But my banking information, my work accounts, all kinds of other things are stored in my keychain.
Yeah.
And that's another one of these dicey things that we won't get into now, but having employees use their personal password managers to store company passwords and content, like if they're using something like LastPass, that could be in breach now.
Yeah.
And a bad actor could get into your company's stuff because you chose a third-party system to store your passwords, and now it's been corrupted. It's crazy.
It is crazy. But we have kind of a good security and privacy stories from Reuters. The headline, U.S. says it hacked the hackers to bring down ransomware gang, helping 300 victims.
This ransomware gang where they sitting outside on a bunch of motorcycles, and one guy has a patch on his eye and a guy has a pipe with a bandana sticking out of his pocket.
Yes.
Smoking cigarettes with a big scar on his face, that type of gang, I'm guessing.
I'm sure that's exactly what they look like. Not a bunch of overweight guys eating Doritos and Mountain Dew in their mom's basement.
Yeah.
But it's hard to know. But yes, the FBI on Thursday revealed it had secretly hacked and disrupted a prolific ransomware gang called Hive, a maneuver that allowed the Bureau to thwart the group from collecting more than $130 million in ransomware demands from more than 300 victims.
This is good news.
Yes.
And man, of course they would probably lose data, but I want to see these guys get swatted and people burst in and guns going off and real consequences. But it's probably
Team 6.
Yeah. But it's probably, we got to keep these guys alive because they know the passwords to all the computers that have the encryption.
Yes. So, they infiltrated and they were able to get some of the digital keys to unlock data. And
that's good.
So maybe a little bit of progress here, and maybe that'll put a little fear in the other ransomware gangs that doesn't seem like they needed to have any fear in the past.
Right off on your motorcycles, fellas.
Yes. Well, our bonus odd take of the week. Speaking of fear, this is a great video that I came across, and I can't play the audio. Well, sorry. I think we'll try to instill the audio because, Dave, if you want to pull up the video and go to 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
All right.
And then I'll start talking again while you do that. So the video, it's on YouTube from Duncan F. Brown, Video Game History, 1982 High-Tech Wreck Local News Report. So it's a 3-part local news story that this guy did on the popularity of arcade games like Pac-Man. And it's pretty funny, but part 2 starts off. And we'll listen to that now.
But there are some people who are worried that the games could be having a negative effect on the players. Barry Burnson joins us now for part 2 of High-Tech Wreck. And you talk about some of those negative effects and the people who are upset about it.
That's true. In fact, some of the things that doctors are starting to see are Space Invader's Elbow, Defender Wrist, and Pac-Man Pinky. These are really coming into medical offices as the video game wave continues to build. We call them the side effects of High-Tech Wreck.
So, you gotta love that. When they were panicked, doctors were worried about Space Invader's Elbow, Defender Wrist, and Pac-Man Pinky.
Like Defender Wrist? Like,
Yes.
I mean, Pac-Man Pinky's really the only one that's like kind of rhymes or has
yeah. Space Invader's Elbow, like, I don't know. It does go on to talk about how, these local arcades can be hangouts for the bad guys, the ruffians.
This
and
is
all
where
that
all
stuff.
those guys who are doing the crypto hackers. This is
where the Hive ransomware gang started out. Was working on their Pac-Man Pinky. But it's just funny. It's a fun little time capsule to see, way back at the beginning, and they look at, they kind of finish off the video going to the American Pac-Man factory where they're making, because the only video games we had were the big old consoles at the arcade and how it was taking over pinball. So definitely go check out that video. It's a fun one.
I'm going to subscribe to Duncan F. Brown right now.
Nice.
Not to give RIP VHS any competition here, but
yes, and congratulations, Dr. RIP VHS, on your 10,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. Friend of the show, Todd.
Yeah, 10 of those subscribers are all my various accounts.
And 10 of mine as well, but not to take away from his accomplishments. I also have just a quick little extra bonus odd take that primarily would, I think, Dave, you might be the only one hearing this that would be interested, but we talked about the 30th, there's Mac 30th anniversary icons GitHub, and
nice.
They are SVG icons extracted from the 30th anniversary Mac font. So that was 10 years ago.
The 30th anniversary was 10 years ago? I don't know.
I think it was, but these are just very nice little SVG icons of various Macs, starting with the Macintosh 128K, and it goes all the way up to the Mac Pro 2013. And so it's fun to go look at them. They're nice little icons, but not something. It's one of those things that I'll download. It'll be in my download folder, and then like in a year when I clear out my download folder, I'll put it in some random other folder and probably never look at it again. But they're cool nonetheless.
They are. You know what I should do is take one of these and create a 3D printer file and print it out and have a black and white silhouette icon hanging on my white wall.
Yes, pick your favorite Mac. There are several that I have owned on here over the years. My first Mac, the 1998 iMac, when the colored ones came out.
I don't know what my first one was. I think it was a PowerBook 540. Well, no, that's a color one. It was a black and white. So some old PowerBook that I bought from a friend.
Duo 210 or something like that, based solely on what I'm seeing on these icons.
Yep.
Very nice. Well, something you do own, No. Well, something we do own are picks of the week.
Do you know what I like just slightly less than donuts, Nate?
What's that?
Donut Games on iOS. They have so many of these cute little games. The lawnmower one.
Oh, yeah.
The monkey, you flick it and it flies around, and all these different ones. Over the years, I've been waiting for sales on the Donut Games on iOS, and then I'll download them for free. I think I've purchased a couple of them because I felt a little bit guilty, always waiting for the free sale. And I have dozens of these games. Well, I was loading one up today on my iPad, and just an old one. This isn't the one, but one that I like to play is called Lucky Coins. Oh, actually, it was that one. I'd launched it, and it brought up an ad for Donut Game, or Donut 80 is the name of it. Nice. And this is an iOS game that is a reimagination. What did they call it? They called it a demake. You know, like a remake. Yes. But this is a demake where they've made them like retro with all these pixels. And so all your favorite games are there in all their pixel retro goodness. And it's free, absolutely free. You can play them. And there's a dozen or so games in there. And when you complete or get certain levels, it unlocks new games. Oh, and cool. So if you've never had a chance to try out the Donut games that are on iOS, this is a great chance to do so for free. Yeah. Sunday Lawn is on there, one of their most popular ones. It's about mowing grass, but it is very fun.
Very cool. Yes, I just downloaded it myself. Well, equally as exciting as some demaked games, I've got a writing utensil for you. Now, I've picked
a physical utensil?
Yes, a physical writing utensil that does not interface with the iPad, except for to maybe break it. So, as most of us do, wear plaid shirts with pockets and keep our phone in our shirt pocket.
Sure.
Most of our listeners do that. And then you want to keep a pen in there because you're a nerd. And so you want to put it in there. So I don't think I have it here on my desk where I have most everything I own. But I had gotten some nice slim pens that were very nice. And I actually completely used a pen, which rarely happens for me. You lose it or whatever, move on to a new one. And so I'd use that one up. And so I went on to Amazon, of course, and found the Unibene Slim Metallic Retractable Ballpoint Pens, matte Sliver and black. Nice gift for business office students, teachers, wedding, Christmas, medium point, 1mm, 6-pack, black ink. So I'll show you the pen.
Color. That's a beautiful shade of sliver.
Yeah, it's a very nice sliver, and it's a twist pen. It writes very nicely. It looks very professional. Now, one of the things I noticed, Dave, is it is a very close match to the metal on my Apple Watch Ultra. So for all of our listeners that wear plaid shirts with pockets, with their phone in them, with a pen in it too, and have the Apple Watch Ultra, this pen is going to be the one for you.
Wow. That's amazing. And it comes in a 6-pack?
Yes, a 6-pack. And it's real metal. It looks like a professional pen that you would see on an executive's desk. But Dave, how much would you pay for 6 of the Unibene? And I will tell you, 4.5 stars on 935 ratings.
It's been a long time since I bought a pen.
Yes.
But I'm just gonna say it. $11.95.
Oh, well, Dave, geez, you are pretty dang close. $9.99.
I went a little high because they're metal.
Yes. If you go for the Sliver 1 option, which is all Sliver, those are $13.99. So if you average the two out, you were spot on.
Wow.
But yes, a very nice pen. If you're looking for one, I recommend this. Even, just to have a skinnier pen. Somebody gave us this really nice pen, but it's huge.
Are you fat shaming pens?
Yeah, I am going on the record as fat shaming pens.
Yeah, why do they have to be so thick? We're not in first grade learning how to write.
Yeah, unless you have motor issues, you don't need a big old fat pen, especially if you're going to carry it around with you. I keep this big fat one on my desk because it is nice, but for portability, go for the Unibene.
Yeah, I did need a pen and paper today. It was really important. I needed to write something down from a phone call that was very short. However, that's the last time probably in the past 12 to 24 months that I've needed a pen for anything. So I don't share your enthusiasm for carrying around pens.
Yes.
But for those of you who use them, that's a nice pen.
Yes. And I do not use them as much as I used to. I will often. I'm usually at my laptop, so it's quicker to just type notes. But every once in a while, I just need a pen and like having one in my pocket, especially a slim one. It's not taking up a lot of space.
Yeah. And you've got to, you've got equipment on you. You might as well save a few ounces and grams where you can.
Yes. Efficiency.
Yeah.
Coming full circle, tech efficiency.
You might have to climb a hill with all that gear.
Yes. And if I had the big fat pen, I might have to run a race. I might have to run from the cops.
Yeah.
Who knows what the case may be, but this pen's going to help me do that a little better.
Don't run from the cops, Nate. That's
okay.
a life pro tip there.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, if you would like to download Donut 80 or purchase the Unibene Slim Metallic Retractable Ballpoint pens, you should head right over to Notpicks.com. While you're there, find one of the products on there listed that you have used before. Leave a little review, and you might win our current giveaway. Dave, I'm giving you got to see one of these in the flesh the other day.
I did.
I'm giving away one of my favorite Bluetooth mice, the TechNet. And I've got an all black one still in the box, brand new.
Wow.
That I will be giving away. So if you're interested in having it's also very portable. It's a small mouse. So again, packing light.
Yeah.
But this Bluetooth mouse, it has all the buttons, works great. You don't have to have one of those stupid little Logitech USB adapters in the side of your computer to have a wireless mouse. Bluetooth. It's the wave of the future.
Yeah, there's a person at work. He's got a USB-C computer, and they have the dongle.
Yeah.
With the dongle and the dongle, so that they can use their mouse. I'm like, buy
Double
a Bluetooth
dongled
mouse. They're like $10.
Yes. And most every laptop and some desktops, especially consumer desktops, have Bluetooth built in.
Don't buy a computer that doesn't have Bluetooth built in.
That's a good point.
And you could even use it. Technology.
Yeah, you could even use it on your iPad with the mouse support on your iPad.
True.
So the TechNet cordless optical mouse, we're giving one of those away. If you go leave a review after it's over, I forget what the end date is on that one, we will draw a winner, much like Wes and Jared and Chris, our previous winners. We will get that out to you.
You mean to tell me we have 3 listeners?
Yes, I know. That's and we have 4 because my wife's written a bunch of reviews.
Oh, that's true.
So
That's true.
We are up to 4 listeners now, so we might have to do an extra bonus giveaway now that we have 4 listeners to
We're
our
out on
dear
the tales
podcast.
of Dr. R.I.P. VHS.
Yes, we're coming for you. Watch out. We just need to start. We should have just played that whole 1982 video game video, because that's what he does, is play old VHSs. So maybe that's our secret. Less of us, more vintage videos.
Yeah, we'll give it a try and see what happens.
Yes, indeed. Well, with that, we will wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Share it with a friend. Visit notpicks.com and get out there and tech better. Hey-yo!
It's been a while since I said that one.
It's been a while.
Keep going.
That's all I got.